The Titans did not leave Santa Clara with just a 19-13 preseason win. They left with a much bigger story. Cam Ward opened the night by leading Tennessee on a 95-yard touchdown drive. The run game pushed San Francisco around, and a rookie offensive lineman who was supposed to be fighting for backup snaps suddenly looked ready to challenge for a starting job. But the same game also showed problems Tennessee cannot hide. The passing game lost its rhythm, the starting defense gave up a long drive to 49ers backups, and another issue hit the secondary before the regular season even began. One night gave Tennessee real hope, but it also gave Robert Saleh a clear list of things that need to be fixed fast. That is why this Titans team is worth watching right now. Saleh has spent camp pushing a simple message: play fast, play physical, and make every rep matter. Now that message is starting to show up on the field. Tennessee ran the ball with purpose. The offensive line gave Ward clean pockets for stretches, and the competition across the roster is getting serious. Players are not being handed jobs because of their name or experience. If a younger player is better, he is getting a real chance. That kind of pressure can change a team quickly, and Tennessee is already seeing it happen with Fernando Carmona Jr., who has gone from second on the depth chart to working with the first group. Still, nobody in Tennessee can treat one preseason win like proof that everything is fixed. The Titans are trying to build around a young quarterback, settle key jobs on the offensive line, clean up mistakes in the secondary, and figure out which players can be trusted when the games start counting. The good part is that they now have real competition and real signs of progress. The bad part is that the clock is already moving. And the biggest question sits right in the middle of all of it. Because if this offense is going anywhere in 2026, it will depend on how quickly Cam Ward turns those early flashes into a full game. Cam Ward's first real preseason look was not clean, but it was useful. Tennessee opened with an 11-play, 95-yard touchdown drive, and Ward looked calm when the offense stayed on schedule. He found Calvin Ridley for a big third down conversion, hit Gunnar Helm underneath, and also connected with Wan'Dale Robinson. The protection held up well enough for him to work through the pocket, and Tennessee did not need him forcing throws to move the ball. That first drive showed what this offense can look like when Ward is comfortable and the pieces around him are doing their jobs. The next two drives were much rougher. Ward went 3 for 8 for only 23 yards during that stretch, missed chances against San Francisco's backup defense, and was called for grounding. Robert Saleh said Ward's mechanics looked more rushed than they had in practice, which is exactly the kind of issue preseason is meant to expose. The positive part was that the protection was not falling apart. Ward had time on several snaps, which means the bigger problem was how quickly he was moving through his reads and how well he was seeing the field. That is fixable, but it has to improve before the speed of regular season football makes those mistakes more costly. Ward finished 5 of 12 for 57 yards, and after the game he pointed straight at the passing game. He said he and the receivers need to see things the same way and give each other better chances to make plays. That matters, because Tennessee already knows what Ward can do when he settles in. The next step is turning those short flashes into steady drives without the drop in timing and accuracy that showed up later. And one reason the Titans may not have to put everything on his arm right away is what happened on the ground, because Tennessee's backs gave this offense another way to control the game. If Tennessee wants to make life easier on Cam Ward, the answer may already be sitting in the backfield. The Titans did some of their best work on the ground, and Tyjae Spears was the player who really jumped off the screen. He broke loose for a 25-yard run that pushed Tennessee deep into San Francisco territory, then finished with 36 yards on only 3 carries. That is the kind of burst this offense needs, especially from a player who had a much tougher preseason start a year ago because of injury. This time, Spears looked quick, fresh, and ready to give Tennessee another real weapon. Tony Pollard gave them the other side of that attack. On Tennessee's opening possession, the Titans controlled the line, kept moving the chains, and Pollard finished the drive with a 5-yard touchdown run. That matters because Tennessee does not need to turn every series into a passing test. If Pollard can handle the hard carries and Spears can bring speed and space, the Titans can force defenses to respect both backs. That gives the offense more balance and takes some of the pressure off Ward while he is still building timing with the receivers. The bigger point is simple. Tennessee may not need a complicated plan to move the ball. Run with power, use Spears when the defense starts getting heavy, and make Ward throw from better situations instead of asking him to save every drive. That kind of setup can work if the guys up front keep doing their part. And that is where the next story gets interesting, because one young lineman has gone from being a depth option to making a real push for a starting job. Fernando Carmona Jr. may have changed the Titans' plans faster than anyone expected. The rookie opened preseason behind Cordell Volson at right guard, but that order is already under pressure. Carmona worked with the first team during Tennessee's joint practice with San Francisco, then got the start in the preseason opener and played 28 snaps. For a fifth-round pick trying to earn trust, that is a big jump in a very short time, and based on the way the Titans are talking about him, this is no longer just a camp experiment. Carmona has put himself right in the middle of a real starting battle. What has helped Carmona stand out is not one flashy play. It is the way he handles the job. Robert Saleh praised his strength, his communication, and how steady he has been inside. Carmona already has plenty of college experience, starting 49 of 50 games while playing both guard and tackle. And that background is showing now. He is not playing scared, and he is not trying to make the job look harder than it is. He has said he wants to be known as a hard worker who plays with real force. And so far, that is exactly the style Tennessee is getting from him. The strongest support may be coming from the player Carmona could end up protecting every week. Cam Ward called him tough and physical, and said he would be happy to have him next to him when the season starts if Carmona wins the job. That is a strong sign for a rookie still fighting his way up the depth chart. Tennessee has already shown how serious it is about the line by giving Peter Skoronski a 4-year, $100 million deal, and now Carmona has a chance to become another important piece, without costing the team anything close to that kind of money. But while one rookie is making his case up front, another highly watched young player had a much quieter night on the outside. Carnell Tate came into this game with a lot of attention around him, but his first preseason night did not go the way many expected. The rookie had been one of the most talked about players in Titans camp, so there was real interest in seeing how quickly that practice success would carry into a game. Instead, Tate finished without a catch. He was targeted 3 times, and none of those throws turned into a completion. One of the biggest chances came near the goal line, where San Francisco rookie Ephesians Prysock stayed with him and broke up the pass. For Tate, it was a reminder that camp buzz and game production are 2 very different things. That does not mean Tennessee should be worried about Tate yet. The bigger issue is timing. A young receiver can be in the right spot and still miss a play if the quarterback expects something slightly different. That is exactly where Tennessee needs more work before the season starts. Wan'Dale Robinson and Xavier Restrepo were able to get involved, while several other Titans also recorded catches, so the offense was not stuck. But Tate is supposed to become an important piece, and if that is going to happen early, he and Ward have to get on the same page much faster. The good news is that Tennessee still has time to fix it. Tate has already shown enough in practice to earn attention, and one quiet preseason game does not erase that. But from this point on, every rep matters more, because the regular season is getting closer. Tennessee needs to know which young players can turn practice success into real production when the pressure goes up. And while the offense is trying to clean up that timing, the next concern sits on the other side of the ball, where one long San Francisco drive showed that the Titans' defense still has a problem it cannot ignore. The Titans gave up only 1 touchdown all night, but the way that touchdown happened should bother Robert Saleh. San Francisco put together an 11-play, 68-yard drive with mostly backup players on offense, while Tennessee still had nearly all of its starting defense on the field. That is the kind of series that tells a coach more than the final score. The Titans had chances to end the drive, especially on 3rd down, but they kept allowing San Francisco to stay on the field. For a defense that wants to be one of the toughest parts of this team, that cannot become a habit. The biggest concern came in the secondary. Tennessee allowed too many plays through the air and did not finish downs when it had the chance. Cordell Flott said after the game that the group is still learning each other and still has things to fix. That is a fair answer in August, but the season will not give them much time to figure it out. Saleh has always wanted his defenses to play fast, stay connected, and force offenses into mistakes. If the coverage is late or the unit cannot get off the field on 3rd down, that whole plan becomes much harder to run. This is where Tennessee has to be careful. A defense can look solid for most of a game and still lose because of 2 or 3 bad drives. The Titans have enough talent up front to create pressure, but the back end has to hold up long enough for that pressure to matter. And just as Tennessee was already trying to clean up those issues, the secondary took another hit away from the field. One player who is expected to help that group will not be available when the regular season begins, and his absence now makes this position even more important. Then Tennessee got the kind of news no team wants this close to the season. Defensive back Nazeeh Johnson was suspended for the first 6 regular season games for violating the NFL's policy on performance-enhancing substances. Johnson can still practice and play during the preseason, but once the real games begin, he will be gone from the lineup. That puts the Titans in a tougher spot, because this was already a position where they were still trying to sort out depth and find the right group. Johnson is not a new player trying to learn the NFL from scratch. He came into Tennessee with 29 career games and 6 starts after beginning his career with Kansas City. He also has experience on a championship roster, which made him a useful addition for a defense trying to build more trust in the back end. Now Tennessee has to plan without him for a large part of the opening stretch. That means more snaps for other defensive backs, more pressure on younger players, and fewer chances for the coaching staff to hide weak spots if someone else struggles. This suspension also changes the meaning of the final weeks of preseason. Every rep in the secondary now carries more weight, because Tennessee has to decide who can handle a bigger role when the season starts. The Titans do have options, but they need answers quickly, not just bodies on the depth chart. And with one problem already added before week 1, the final preseason games are no longer only about getting ready. They are about finding out which players can be trusted when the score actually counts. One of the cleanest answers Tennessee got from this game came from Joey Saleh. He hit all 4 of his field goal tries, including kicks from 53, 55, and 58 yards, and added the extra point. For a team trying to remove as many question marks as possible before September, that kind of night matters. Saleh had already gone 6 for 6 in the joint practice with San Francisco, then backed it up when the game started. After some recent misses, he said he went back, studied what was wrong, and made the correction. That may not grab the biggest headline, but reliable points can decide close games once the regular season begins. There are still a few things Tennessee has to watch before the roster is settled. Defensive end Jalen Harrell left with a knee issue, and tight end Jaron Kanak left with a pectoral injury, so their status now becomes part of the final camp picture. The Titans still have more preseason work ahead, including the next game against Seattle, and every snap from here can change who makes the final 53. This is where depth players either earn trust or disappear from the plan. Coaches now have real tape, real pressure situations, and much better information than they had before kickoff. That is the real value of what happened in Santa Clara. Tennessee did not prove it is ready to take over the AFC, and nobody serious should say that after one preseason game. What the Titans did prove is that this roster has more real competition, more young players pushing forward, and more areas that are starting to take shape. Now the easy part is over. The next few weeks will decide which of these flashes are real, which players can be trusted, and whether this team is actually ready to carry that progress into games that count. Because by the time Tennessee opens the season against the Jets, nobody will care what looked good in August. They will only care whether the Titans were smart enough to turn it into wins. Blessings to all my subscribers family. Your support means everything. Stay tuned, stay sharp, and I catch you in the next one.